Well, I've been playing around with this new GoPro for a little bit here, and we're going to see how it does with the chest mount, see how this image stabilization works with a Rabaconda tire changer. Now, I've used this thing a couple times, getting mousses out of tires, doing a couple tubes, changed a bunch of tires on the ground with tire irons before, but once I started using mousses, thought this thing was the way to go from everything I'd seen. So I've got a dirt rim off my old 450 here that I need to put a more street-oriented tire on, so that's got a mousse in it right now, and we'll swap it out and put a tire with a tube in it. So this thing does break down real nice. The changer does. It's got all these nice levers underneath. It's marked so that you can select your rim size here. The one thing that I have noticed about it is they tend to move. And if they're not in the right spot where it says 18, then the thing doesn't work. It doesn't support the tire very well, and that bead breaker just doesn't line up with anything. So with a mousse on it, what you end up doing is hopefully only have one rim lock. If you've got two, it's a nightmare. So what I've always ended up doing is just pushing back on the rim lock, making sure it's freed up, which that one is. And then you just start working your way around, and it's way easier if you have a good variety of tire irons to choose from. So you just push down and work your way around, get these tire irons in under the lip. And I don't have that many tire irons, so it ends up being a little bit more cumbersome than what the pros show. I'm just using what I've got. And yeah, so we'll start there and then spin this thing around a little bit more, and that way when we get to it, we can break the bead on this side and keep it down tight. They bill this as a 3-minute tire changer. As much as I would love to believe that it's a 3-minute tire changer, it is really rather more difficult, at least for me. Maybe I don't have it down yet, than what they show in the videos. Now, compared to doing a mousse by yourself without a tire changer, this thing's amazing. And if you change a lot of tires, have a couple bikes in the garage, I would highly recommend it, or something similar. They all kind of do the same thing. I know there's a Tusk version out there that apparently the handle's not as strong on. This thing's got a nice heavy-duty steel handle on it, and you're not going to bend it. So you can see I've made it back around to the rim lock, and this thing just pushes the rim lock out of the way, and you squeeze down on it, and you know, there you go. It's totally broken, just like that. You got that bead pulled out on this side. So when you move your mess of tire irons, flip the thing over and make sure that the rim lock is over here, away from everything. And then you start pushing the tire off. So you want to get the mousse on the opposite side of the rim. So not a whole lot to it, really. Just a little bit of force. So you can see now that mousse, the tire's now down below the rim, and you're just trying to get it down past the other side of the rim, and that's all you need left. So because the rim lock has it hung up on one side, you spin that over here so you've got the most extra room to work. What they tell you on YouTube and in their instructions is that you really have to pull this bead over from the other side. We'll see if I have to do that. I've gotten lucky a couple times, and if I can get this, you push down on it, you can see it just starts to tuck, just like that. is just barely past. If you put your hand there, you can kind of sneak your way around, and then you don't have to take the tire off. And this thing's coming off real nice. If you lubricate your mousses properly, it's real easy like this. If your mousses are dry, like this extra mousse here, it's a little bit torn up and overheated. If they're dry like this, it's a nightmare to get them apart. But if they're well lubricated, they come off really easy. So then it's still hung up a little on the rim lock, but all that's left is to just sneak it past that guy. And of course this would be the hardest thing here. And just like that, you've got a tire, or a rim rather, with a bunch of schmoo on it, rim lock, and then tire comes off with a mousse in it. And that is it's a lightly used mousse. It's probably got 500 miles on it maybe, so it's softer than a new one would be. And then, like I said, I've got, that went well, I've got a tire ready to go on that I've already stuck a tube in right here. So I've had good luck doing it this way. We'll see if it works. One thing I did forget to do just now is you always got a little cap where your valve stem would go when you're running a mousse. And if you forget to take that out, it's a real pain later. And of course, this rim strip I've got in here doesn't have a hole in it. So with a nice sharp X-Acto, I've now got a hole for my valve stem. So take the tire here and kind of hook it around the rim lock and get the valve stem lined up here. And there's a little bit of air in the tube, just enough to give it a shape. And so then you can see I've got it hooked around the rim lock right. You want to make sure this side of the lip stays up over the tire, or up over the rim. And if you can, you want that valve stem to sneak through there, so that when it all goes together, it's not falling inside. Now it's in there enough that once the tire's on, I should be able to pull it through. And then from here, honestly, putting it back on is not all that different really than if you didn't have a tire changer at all. You're really using it more as a stand, which, you know, after years of changing these tires on the ground, on the floor in my garage, it is kind of nice being able to just halfway stand up and not be quite on your knees so much. So, and like I said, that tire changer, that arm and everything, you don't really use it for much going back on. Not until the end, if you have some issues, it can come in handy. So there, I've got it popped over the rim on the first side of the bead. Make sure the rim locks around it. You can see the valve stems coming through there. So now that that's through, I can take the nut, make sure I'm not gonna lose the tube when I finish her up, and then start working my way around again. So I guess there is one little area where this can kind of help. Is you want the rim lock and the valve stem over here, because when you, oh, I'm sorry, I've got that backwards. You want the tire to go around that blast so that this can drop into the drop center of the rim. So the one nice thing here is you can tuck that guy in, and once your valve stem's straight over here, that way you've got something hanging onto it and you're not trying to tuck the tire iron under your leg or hold it down with your other hand and then fling it off and, you know, hit something else in your garage, dent your car or something. I wish I could say I wasn't speaking from experience on that. But you work with the space you got. So let's see, everything's kind of going on here. This is staying in the drop center okay. And then as you get to the end, you know, you're taking small nibbles. And then as you get right out to the finish here, normally I can get it real close, and then I'll take this guy, pop her down, and just like that, the tire's on the rim, and all that's left is tighten down your rim lock. The valve stem's still straight. You want to make sure that's in there. Fill it up with air, and you're good to go. So overall, been pretty happy with it. I wish the adjustments would stay in place a little better. You can kind of see maybe where it's labeled 18. I had them lined up pretty well. You can see right here it's already moved out of the way a little bit. It's a little storage thing for putting your tire irons. I don't really use it much. These things seem like they could be adjusted. They've got a screw head in them, but they're actually peened, so you can't really turn that without damaging it. So I've just kind of left well enough alone. For different size axles, there's a sleeve over it you can take off to fit the older style rims. It comes with this nice little bag. Whole thing fits in there along with all the tire irons. It's nice and portable, kind of pricey, but it works. And you know, they say it's a 3-minute tire changer. I think it's more of a 15-minute tire changer, but that's still way better than a half-hour tire change on the floor. So that's the Rabaconda.